AEW had a blockbuster year in 2021, and when you look at their roster from the year they formed compared to now, their change is absolutely uncanny, and there are so many names you just never thought would be there. AEW signed 28 wrestlers this year. Whether they were recent WWE releases, wrestlers coming out of retirement, some top indie talent, or Hook, AEW cleaned up this year, and today I'm going to discuss every AEW signing of 2021 and give them a letter grade. No pluses or minuses, just a letter grade. Before we get into it though, make sure to subscribe with notifications on. The majority of you watching aren't subscribed, so if you do enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe. It's free, you can always unsubscribe, and it just means you're never going to miss a video. We've still got a few more videos to come out before the year ends. But on to this video, let's go.
Greetings and salutations, this is Almighty Christopher Daniels, sometimes known as the Fallen Angel, but always known as the greatest wrestler in the world, your mom's favorite wrestler, your dad's favorite wrestler, the world's favorite wrestler. I'm also a paragon of virtue, an inspiration to children everywhere, and the man with the rear that makes the girls cheer. And while you're watching me, I'm telling you, you're also watching Top 10 Wrestling, so congratulations.
The first signing AEW made this year was Big Shotty Lee Johnson. He was a part of the Nightmare family and got officially announced as All Elite in February. He was engaged in a feud, kind of teaming up with Cody against the Factory, and overall he's a young wrestler with lots of potential. He's mainly being used as a jobber, but maybe in 2022 we'll see some more from him. I'm going to give Lee Johnson signing with AEW a C grade. Next up we have Paul White, which was a really shocking signing to see. He was announced right before Revolution, and he was announced as a commentator for Dark Elevation, and was also, when he made his debut, announced that he would be making a big announcement for another new signing at Revolution. Yeah, I know, whatever. He's wrestled a few matches here and there, including against QT Marshall at All Out, but he's mainly wrestled on Dark Elevation and on Dark, and not on TV. I'll give Paul White signing a D. I mean, he's a good backstage mentor, but in terms of an on-screen role, you know, he's obviously not lit the world up on fire. Next up, we've got Red Velvet, who was mainly being used as a jobber before she was signed, but she aligned herself with Brandy Rhodes, and when Brandy had to step out of the tag match against Shaq and Jade, she took Brandy's place and teamed with Cody against them in one of the best celebrity matches I've ever seen. She's a very good asset for the women's division, she's a good wrestler, and I'll give her signing a B. Next up, we've got the signing of Captain Shawn Dean. Now, let me tell you, I know absolutely nothing about Shawn Dean. From my understanding, he is completely used as a jobber on both Dark as well as TV, but you wouldn't know that on TV because he's wrestled once on TV this whole year, and that was this past week, being squashed by Wardlow in 1 minute. I'll give this one an E. I'd like to see more of him. I don't know anything about him because I don't watch Dark, but, you know, maybe AEW can give him some time to shine, but right now, it's an E grade. Next up, we've got the signing of Ethan Page. He debuted in the Face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution. I didn't really know what to think of this signing. I thought, you know, he's a solid mid-card guy, but I don't really know what else they'll do with him. I thought him teaming with Scorpio was very questionable at first, but I've really come around to it. They had a really fun feud with Darby and Sting, which saw them having a tag match at Double or Nothing, and Ethan and Darby having a coffin match. I'll give Ethan Page a B. Next up, we got Christian Cage, who returned and came out of the retirement at the Royal Rumble first off, but then went over to AEW in a shocking signing, which was announced by Paul White at Revolution. He won the Impact title from Kenny Omega, then challenged Kenny Omega for the world title at their biggest show of the year, All Out, in a very good match. And just Christian Cage being back made me feel emotional. I'm going to give Christian Cage being back an A. Next up, we've got Layla Hirsch, who I think is another good asset for the women's division. However, she's just not used enough. She's not on TV much. The last time she was really on TV was to promote a feud for the NWA, which was weird from AEW. But that match with Camille at NWA was actually incredible. One of my favorite matches of the year. Use her more on TV, AEW. I'll give you a B for now, but I was close to giving you a C. Just use her more because she's good. Next up, we've got Mark Henry, who has been signed as a backstage coach and also an interviewer for Rampage, and I'm giving him a B just based off that interview segment he does before the main event on Rampage. It's really great, and the "now it's time for the main event" is just awesome, and I use that in my videos now. Big ups Mark Henry, you get a B. Next up, we got Andrade El Idolo, and let me tell you, I really like Andrade as a wrestler. I think anyone saying that he's washed up or is half-arsing it is delusional, because he's had great matches in AEW, you know, the ones with Pac come to mind, the Cody Rhodes ones. However, he's got lost in the shuffle a bit. He hasn't really had a proper program to sink his teeth into, like a proper rivalry, and he's just been lost in the shuffle a bit. I'm going to give him a D for now. I'd like to see some improvement with him. I think he could potentially be a good challenger for the TNT title, or maybe to Hangman, and I'd like to see some more of that from him, and for him to be in a more prevalent space on the roster and have a proper program he can sink his teeth into. Malakai Black has had incredible presentation thus far, and when he debuted attacking Cody, it was really unexpected because no one knew about his whole release clause thing. He's also kind of like Andrade, hasn't had a proper like pay-per-view program, but he's been booked incredibly strong, and they're definitely setting him up for something. And yeah, I'm going to give Malakai Black a B because he's one of the most exciting wrestlers right now, I think. Next up, we got the Varsity Blondes, comprised of Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr., who are just a good, solid mid-card team. They're very reliable. They're good, reliable TV wrestlers. They can be on TV any week, and they'll put on a good showing, you know, both of them, whether in tag or singles. I'm going to give them a C. Next up, we got Thunder Rosa, who was a fantastic signing, I will say, just an absolutely fantastic signing. She's a brilliant women's wrestler. She's probably one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. She's had great matches this year, particularly with Britt Baker, with Nyla Rose, and she's someone who can be in AEW for years and be at the top of their division for years and just be one of their top women. She gets an A from me, and this is the start of a streak of A's. Next up, we have 2.0 of Matt Lee and Jeff Parker, formerly known as Everrise in NXT. They signed for AEW, and they're just a very solid and entertaining heel tag team. They've wrestled some of the top stars already. Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin, Moxley, Sting. They had a tag match against Darby and Sting, and yeah, I really enjoyed these guys. I think they were a great signing from AEW. I'm giving them an A as well, honestly. I think they were a fantastic signing from AEW and a great get for them, and they've been brilliant so far. They've done everything asked of them. Next up, we have Fuego del Sol, Fuego del Sol was signed for a purpose. And let me tell you, he's doing that purpose brilliantly. He's doing everything AEW asked for him to do exceptionally well, and he makes people look great when he loses to them. He's a good seller, and he's getting an A from me as well. He might be a jobber, but he does his job really well. Whatever he's asked to do, he does really well. He makes people look great. He has good showings, and he's getting an A from me. Jamie Hayter is up next. She came in as a side piece to Britt Baker and as a kind of part of her Britt Baker's entourage, but once again has done everything AEW has asked of her exceptionally well and more. She's put on great matches. She's just been so fun to watch, and she's got huge potential, and I'm really excited to see where she goes in AEW, but she's just been so reliable since coming into AEW and so exciting to watch, and she gets an A as well. Next up, we have CM Punk, and it's CM Punk, which is enough said. You know, he feuded with Darby when he came in. He's now kind of teaming with them and Sting. The Eddie Kingston feud was incredible. This MJF feud so far is amazing. He's had good matches with Matt Sydal, with Lee Moriarty, with Darby Allin, of course. The pay-per-view match was really good. And it's CM Punk. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. He gets an A. He's back after 7 years. He gets an A. Next up, we've got Destination Unknown, Ruby Soho. Shouts out to Taz. She came in, immediately won the Battle Royal, the Casino Battle Royal, and became number one contender. Main evented Grand Slam, their biggest show they've ever done. And she's been fantastic, hasn't she? She's been absolutely fantastic. She's made it to the final of the TBS title tournament, which I would love to see her win, to be honest. And yeah, once again, it's an A. Then we first had Adam Cole, who debuted right after the main event of All Out. A really great theme song, first up. You know it's all about the boom. One of the best theme songs in wrestling today. Quite shocking, actually, for me. I was not expecting him to debut right then and there. But he's had some solid matches with, like, Orange Cassidy. And the match with John Silver was really fun. And Jungle Boy match was really fun. And he was going to get a B because he's not, done too much in terms of programs and in terms of, like, just revolutionary stuff. However, there was a recent reunion that took place in AEW, and he's getting an A for that reason. Next up, we got Bryan Danielson, and yeah, it's Bryan effing Danielson. This current run he's on is incredible. This might shape up to be one of the best wrestling runs of all time, just the way it's going so far. He's wrestled nearly every week. He had his debut match with Kenny Omega, which was my match of the year personally. He destroyed the Dark Order week in and week out. He had the 1 hour draw with Hangman, which was awesome. He has just been so good this year. There's no other way to put it. Just every single week, he lights the world on fire, whether it was with wrestling or his character work. He's being Dickhead Danielson right now, which is incredible. He's such a good heel, so good at being a dickhead, and he gets an A, but secretly, he gets an A+ and the best grade of this entire video because I can't say enough good things about him. One of the best to ever do it. Next up, we got Lee Moriarty, and sadly, an end to the A streak, but it's not like a massive downgrade. Lee Moriarty is getting a B. He's a super solid and crafty young talent, and he's not been used too much, but he's had some cool moments here and there. He wrestled Bobby Fish, which was a good match. He wrestled against CM Punk, which was a good match, and I think he's got a lot of potential, Lee does, and I'm really excited to see where he goes. He gets a B. Next up, we've got Lio Rush, who came out of retirement after retiring this year, but was swayed by AEW to come out of retirement. His team and his storyline with Dante Martin has been really entertaining, and he's just done some awesome stuff in AEW. Some of the stuff that he pulls out in matches blows my mind. Lio Rush is just a great wrestler, and I feel like a lot of people forgot that when he signed to AEW because you hadn't really seen him on a mainstream basis since WWE. He gets a B though, he gets a B. Next up, we've got Bobby Fish, who is just a really good solid hand, another guy who's just a good reliable wrestler. He'll come out there, do what he's asked to do, put on a good showing, and he kind of at first had that Matt Sydal role where it doesn't really matter if he wins or loses, he's just there to make everyone look good. And he did that really well, and he did have a B grade until, once again, the recent reunion. And Bobby Fish is getting an A, which might surprise a lot of people, but I think Bobby Fish has been a really good signing for AEW. And this reunion that's taken place gets him an A. I'm sorry. Daniel Garcia next. He's a really great young wrestler, one that I'm particularly really excited about. Probably out of all of the young wrestlers going on, it's him and a guy that starts with H and ends in Ook that I'm the most excited for in AEW, who aren't, non-pillar wrestlers is what I'm on about there. He's had some great matches and programs so far. The guy wrestled CM Punk, Moxley, Kingston, Darby, some of the top wrestlers already, and I just need to see that Danielson match, to be honest. Really need to see that Bryan Danielson match. But I'm so excited about Daniel Garcia, and he gets an A. Next up, we have Jay Lethal, who I'm really unsure of this signing, I get that Ring of Honor's kind of going down and stuff, and he's leaving. But I feel like he's going to easily get lost in the shuffle. If he signed at the formation of AEW, he'd be one of the top guys in AEW, I'm sure. But right now, it's just a really bad time for him to join, I think, with so much going on in AEW. I'll give him a C. He's not done too much since he's came in, but he can get a C. Next up, we got Tony Nese, former Cruiserweight champion. Again, just a solid mid-card guy. I think he's a guy who won't really get lost in the shuffle because I don't think anyone's really expecting him to be a huge main eventer. Like, no one's really expecting that. But so far, he's really only been shown in the crowd, other than his match with Guevara, which was an okay match. It was good. But right now, I'll give him a C, just because we haven't seen much from him. Next up, we've got Hook. And yeah, for that reason, I'm going to give him an A. Next up, we have Kyle O'Reilly, who just debuted this week, and he hasn't done anything yet, but A, because the Undisputed Era reunites in an AEW. Do you know how mad that is? That the Undisputed Era, the literal faces of NXT, are now in AEW? My word. But yes, that was the year that was for AEW in terms of signings. Let me know what your favorite signing for AEW was this year. For me, I'd have to say the Undisputed Era, Punk, Danielson, Hook, Jamie Hayter were probably my favorite signings of this year, just to name a few. That's it from me though. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, etc, etc. Second channel link down below. Like and subscribe. Comment what you want to see next from me. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.